A major road closure began this week in one of Central Ohio's fastest growing areas. Now the detour is forcing traffic onto another road that's already pushed to the limit.
What do you think of this road construction?
It's gonna be a mess.
We'll tell you what this really means for drivers and how long they could be stuck dealing with delays. Plus, data center companies are facing a growing resistance from local lawmakers to the State House. And this week, a move to ban new massive developments in Ohio is moving forward. What people are saying about big tech moving in next door. And a big celebration this week for one of Central Ohio's biggest employers. Nationwide celebrates 100 years of growth right here in Columbus. Central Ohio is definitely booming. We all see it and we all can feel it. So here's what we uncovered this week in Boomtown. A big celebration in Fairfield County this week of the newly renovated Workforce Center on Coon Path Road. This is a major investment in workforce development with a new state-of-the-art healthcare training area and expanded public meeting spaces. Now, recent graduates say this center guided them down a path that they didn't know was possible.
I knew that I wanted to go into construction. I knew that I wanted to do something along those lines, but I never knew how to achieve that goal. And just the staff and everybody here in the Workforce Center, along with the collaboration of Lancaster High School, it's just been so easy to get into the field and just continue to excel throughout my life.
And that's what you call a great ROI, return on investment. Thanks so much for joining us for This Week in Boomtown. I'm Angela Ann. Let's get to some other headlines now.
Welcome everybody to what is soon to be the 21st Metro Park in your Columbus and Franklin County Metro Park system.
A lot of applause right there. The region's 21st Metro Park opened this week, proving that even our green spaces are growing. The Great Southern Metro Park on Williams Road covers 70 acres on the far south end of Columbus, right near I-270 and US 23. And it's a dog-friendly park featuring trails, a playground, even an obstacle course the size of 2 football fields. Well, a popular pop-up deli in Columbus now has a permanent home. Caroline's Gourmet Sandwich Shop is the first merchant named for the North Market's downtown expansion project. Now, this pop-up opened back in October by a well-known chef, Justin Wotring. And the banking business is certainly booming here in Columbus. Northwest Bank announced its newest location on High Street, right next to the Ohio State University campus. This makes it the 4th Columbus area financial center for Northwest Bank in a year, bringing more than 100 jobs with it.
So I think we're looking at areas that we felt were underbanked, underserved communities. There's also an interest of ours to get into where there is a high student population with Ohio State University. So that location was ideal.
And now to the thrifting craze that just seems to keep growing. Goodwill Columbus's largest store is now up and running, and the first shopper walked through the organization's first ever Westerville location last week. This marks its 4th opening since 2023. However, there are now 12 total retail stores for Goodwill Columbus, making it one of the region's largest job providers. Its mission is to help people build lives of possibility and purpose. And earlier this year, the CEO told me that every location is chosen based on need and growth.
We like to have our facilities clearly where there's population growth. And in Central Ohio, that's just about everywhere. But yes, we also want to strategically locate where there's community needs. And that's why when we talk about our job training centers, our mothership job training center is on the east side off Bryce Road. We have one in Grove City. We have one downtown here where our administrative offices are, and then in Clintonville. So yes, we're very thoughtful about where we put our services, and we want to be close to the folks we serve.
And speaking of expansion, Columbus City Council set aside $900,000 this week. That's nearly $1 million to expand a shared use path on the east side. Now, this stretches right along Monocton Road from East Main Street to Stornoway Drive. It's a project that includes road widening, turn lanes, and even new bike paths for pedestrians as well. Council members say it's all about keeping traffic moving and giving people more ways to get around as the city grows. Columbus Public Service Director Kelly Skoko says the driving force behind this project is keeping the next generation safe.
One of the most compelling reasons for us to do this Vision Zero safety project is because there was a child killed. Her name was Elizabeth Lizzie Robertson Rutland. She was 11 years old, and she was killed on this roadway as she was getting ready to get onto a school bus one early morning several years ago. And so that's a compelling reason for us to do these type of projects. It's very unfortunate, but it is one thing we wanted to mention, that we do this in honor of her.
City leaders also say caring for our growing community at every stage matters, including our seniors. And that is at the heart of a plan passed this week to create more affordable housing. Now, this project, called Clover Glen 2, will be built right across another senior living center being developed by National Church Residences. Council members this week approved more than $2 million for that new senior living community right on the far west side. And this will include 96 new apartments for seniors 55 and older.
It feels like an accomplishment. We've had our lows, and this is such a high for us.
Another big week when it comes to the data center debate here in Ohio. So, the Ohio Ballot Board determined this week that a proposed constitutional amendment to ban large data centers in Ohio can actually move forward. So that means there's a grassroots group that has 90 days now to collect the 400,000 signatures needed to put this measure before voters in November. Now, the amendment defines large data centers as those using more than 25 megawatts of power per month. For perspective, that is enough to power 20,000 homes. There are roughly 200 data centers across Ohio, with more than half right here in Central Ohio alone. But opponents to this amendment say data centers have contributed nearly $10 billion to Ohio's economy. Here's what both sides are now saying.
Your electric rates go up, the farmland is getting bought out, property taxes are going up because of the inflated property values.
The overall premise of banning these things, I'm not so sure that's a good idea. I mean, again, if they're not here, they're going somewhere else.
So we asked Columbus Mayor Andrew Ginther what he thought about a statewide ballot issue on this to ban big data centers from setting up shop in the capital city.
I think there are a lot of people in the community that feel like a lot of these data centers should be paying more of their fair share for those resources, and that we really need to be thoughtful about where they go and how many we have and how many we can support as a region. So we're going to continue to work on that. We know that it's been there's been a great economic impact, but there's also been a trade-off with respect to resources.
Meantime, more cities are taking up the data center debate just this month. Marysville plans to update its zoning language so there's a clear rule that governs large facilities without preventing local companies from operating small private data centers for their own use. But other townships, two of them in fact in Union County, are also holding hearings this month. Taylor and Union Townships both want to add formal definitions for data centers to help better shape where and how these energy uses are being permitted and even stored. Now, people in Pataskala packed this planning and zoning meeting just this week, sharing their concerns about a proposed project from Aligned Data Centers. That's the name of the company. And it says this project would bring economic benefits plus hundreds of construction jobs. However, some residents here say they want more time to consider this plan.
Will our electric rates really not go up, or is that just a promise to make us all feel better? There's so much we do not know.
Well, now, because this topic is just about everywhere, 10 TV's Boomtown producer Adrian Mayfield spoke about it on our new streaming show, The Big Picture, with Bryn Caswell and Colin Dorsey. Let's take a listen.
A national moratorium, I don't know how you get enough lawmakers on board for that, so that remains to be seen. But the spirit of it is like what you're seeing happening right here in Ohio and in Central Ohio, where we have our state doing now a commission to study the effects of data centers. Right. And the city of Columbus just met to talk about how they're impacting our communities, especially like our power grid and our water. And my first reaction, and I think Colin, you and I had this conversation, is yeah, we need the answer to those questions because we don't know, but like the horse is kind of already out of the gate.
It sure is, but you can check out The Big Picture on 10 TV Plus live every weekday at 9 a.m. Well, now to this. On the flip side of all this talk, Central Ohio's data center boom is sparking new investment, including this right here, $50 million expansion by Vertiv and up to 730 new jobs. Now, Vertiv here makes cooling and power systems to keep data centers running. And it says expansions at its Westerville headquarters and Ironton manufacturing facility will both help meet the growing demand for AI. Well, construction at the intersection of US 33 and Petzinger Road, along with a new bridge that will carry Sunbury Parkway right over I-71. Those are among nearly 1,000 new construction projects planned across our state this year. And this week, ODOT says work will start ramping up on more than 100 of those projects here in Central Ohio, all of that to help keep up with the region's rapid growth. However, drivers are a little bit mixed. They say while orange barrels are a headache right now, it might be worth it if it means safer roads.
Keeping my children and my grandchildren safe in the car is very important to me, and the better roads we have, hopefully the fewer traffic accidents we have.
And we also learned about another major project this week in Delaware County. This is affecting a hugely growing part of our state. State Route 315 right now is closed for about 5 miles between Home Road and Bunty Station. This shutdown will last until July. And for those drivers who use this busy stretch every day, the big question is how to get around it.
What do you think of this road construction?
It's going to be a mess.
Have you already figured out how you're going to get around it?
Yes, we have.
That's why we are trying to do it right now, to see that how bad it's going to be.
Well, drivers are now being sent to US 23. However, that corridor just north of Columbus is already packed. ODOT says the 23 highway is 30% over capacity because of all that growth in Delaware County. So lawmakers have now asked ODOT to study a possible connector between US 23 and I-71. ODOT releasing this map just 1 month ago showing where that connector could go. There are 5 routes north of the village of Ashley, stretching all across Delaware, Marion, and Morrow counties. Now, some farmers say the proposal is raising serious concerns about their land.
That's the prettiest spot in all of Morrow County, and they want to bring a freeway through it. It's not going to happen here. It's over my dead body.
I've had people say, but they'll pay you well. Money don't mean that. Money can't bring back those memories and that love of your land.
There's not a way to do any project at ODOT that doesn't impact somebody. And it doesn't matter if it's a culvert replacement, if it is a repaving, or it's a brand new highway.
ODOT says the new roadway could cut drive times by up to 20 minutes. It now has until October 1st to send its final recommendations to lawmakers. Well, as Ohio grows, so are the number of rest areas right along our busy interstates. Governor Mike DeWine there joining others to officially open this new spot along I-70 in Madison County. Now, the governor says these rest stops are really a chance to show off Ohio.
It really came about from Fran and my trips through Ohio, but also around the country with children in a van, bunch of kids, sometimes with a dog. And you want to stop at a rest area and you want someplace that's pleasant, but you also want someplace that you can have some exercise and you want your kids to have exercise.
So here's what the governor did. Each rest area will highlight the stop ahead. For example, inside the eastbound 70 rest area there in Madison County, there is information about COSI, the Short North, and Mott's Military Museum. Westbound drivers can now learn more about the Clifton Mill. And that ribbon cutting is all part of a bigger statewide effort to really build 36 new rest areas by the end of this year. It's a huge expansion as more people in Ohio travel the highways for work and play. So along with the brand new builds that you see on this map, the governor plans to upgrade more than 40 other rest stops. Basically more places for you to get out, stretch those legs, and learn some Ohio history of what came before the booming growth. Well, Columbus is growing as a soccer town. This week, another major score for bringing professional women's soccer to the capital city. City leaders, along with private investors, laid out a plan on how to support the new team by adding a 2% ticket tax to games at Scott's Miracle Grove Field. Now, this would generate $25 million that would also go to improvements at the stadium and then build a world-class women's training facility right here in Columbus.
We have struck a new deal that we believe protects taxpayer dollars, pays for itself, and eventually will even become a revenue stream for this city. And obviously, that shows we are serious about bringing a professional women's soccer team to our city.
We'll, of course, keep tabs on that. We do want to wrap up this week with a shining display over downtown Columbus. Look at that. The company Nationwide recently wrote that it is now celebrating 100 years. The company wrote its first insurance policy in April of 1926. And over the last century, Nationwide has really grown into one of Central Ohio's largest employers with more than 16,000 workers. Some of those people have been with the company for decades, including a few who just celebrated their golden anniversary.
It was almost like people started to look at us differently and that people started to take us seriously.
I've always had great bosses. They've always been supportive of your career growth. What is it you want to do? How can I help you?
I loved what I did, and I always tried my best to do my best work for them.
Between the six of you, you have 309 years of nationwide experience. Is that incredible? So thank you for that. Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for all that you've done for over 50 years.
Pretty exciting, right? So here's a little fun fact. You're looking at this saying, how do they do that, right? Well, it took nearly 400 windows on each side of the Nationwide building there to make that 100 years message spanning 10 floors. But if the message is a little longer like this, let's go jackets or maybe happy holidays, clearly more windows are needed. We do want to thank you for joining us this week. If you have any questions related to Central Ohio's rapid growth, we want to hear from you. Just text us 614-460-3345. And if you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. Always drop a question right there in that comment section as well. Thanks again for watching This Week in Boomtown. I'm Angela Ann. We'll see you again next week.